Hi there, back again. Now we are going to revisit what was taught last time about the product evolution and springboard. Now, if you recollect, we started with a design. You see a design of a tractor here. Then what we did is that we had an exploded view of the tractor, see all the components. Then we said that how we discussed on how is there a way to apply springboard with the context of product evolution. But before that, let's think a little seriously about what exactly we mean by product evolution. Let's go. Let's do some whiteboarding on a product. Say you have a product. And you are dreaming that the product has to launch in the market. And the product is launched in the market. People should come and buy it. And they should get interested in the product, and you should have again demand for the product so that you keep on manufacturing the product, right? Let's see. I'll take you to more interesting things now here. How many people manufactured so many cars? See the design of the cars. Wow, don't you see? As soon as you see the body, as soon as you see the tires, you feel like purchasing this car, right? But do you know exactly how did it come to this position? Were you following all the steps right from the scratch of design to everything? No, you were not. Okay, then what is product evolution? Product evolution is a simply means of arriving towards the maturity of product so that it can be launched in the market. It is launched in the market. The customer takes it. Customer takes it. Buys it. What is the next step? Guess it. What I'm going to put here. He enjoys the service. He says, this is my best deal. Talks about this to people. Now this is all at a very top layer. You bought a car from the market and you're driving it, you're enjoying it. Don't you feel that we should give the same kind of enjoyment when you develop applications? If you are with me on this, then yes. We're going to seriously think about what is a product, how do we evolve the product. Remember that when you launch a product, The product has issues. Car is an ideal scenario, right? But when you do software development, what exactly happens? In your case, the customer is coming back, telling you about a problem. You're like, oh, I want to hear problems, man. I got a lot of work. I got a lot of Jira. My boss is waiting for me to complete the story, the Jira story. I need to go into next release. I don't have time for it. There you go. You're broken the cycle there. Product evolves after it goes into market, takes a customer feedback, and improves. But before that, you need to evolve enough at least to launch in the market. It has to survive here at this point. Customer is buying it and is taking his first ride of your product. It has to survive there. And when this loop goes on and goes on and goes on and goes on, your product evolves. So let's rethink on what are we told now. What are we thinking about a product? A product has to have, first of all, a very good design. People do iterative design. Car gets better and better until it goes to market. Once we design, we code. We are not iterative in our design. Our design. Our design does not improve as we code. Even if it improves, how much? How much? We never measure that. Okay. Now let's see product during implementation. Implementation of design, which is coding. It's coding. How much do we take? We take test cases near to reality. When we code, we are happy with the happy path. Is that correct? Let's not let's not lie. Let's be sincere here. Then product goes to production. Production. And it passes all the test cases, which we wrote. Everybody is happy. Let's have a party. Let's have a party. So that's it. We're done. Springboard coding is done. We have completed all microservices. After some time, problems start. Problems start, which we don't discover. Customers tell us, what? Is there an issue with my code? No way. I'm the most best coder in this market. Our bosses say, we have been given budget. Next release. Please focus there. We have additional features. See, at so many stages, we are breaking the life cycle of product evolution. We broke at design. We broke at coding. We broke at production. And now if the customer is telling us to resolve issues, we broke here also because we want to focus on next features. There we go. This is which is breaking the product evolution. Let's come back now and let's start talking with an example. Now, let's come back to our Spring Boot. Last time we said that annotations are the best. They help us to code very quickly, and here we start. The general way to start Spring Boot is you go here and then you say new project. Okay, sorry. Let's go to Spring Boot projects. File, new. Where is my Spring Boot? File, import. No. File, new, library project, others, library SP, file folder. package interface class. Now I want a new Spring Boot project. So let's switch workspace. Let's go to other. Let me go to a Spring Boot project. Say C Spring Boot. And open a new brand project. And from here, let's start. We will first go for a hello world of Spring Boot, as everybody goes. But remember that our product evolution concepts has to run in parallel with Spring Boot. We are not going to only think about Spring Boot. So let's create a new Spring Starter project, and then have bare minimum, nothing more than that. And then let's say finish. Here we go. We get a demo project, get a source, and then this is a demo example. Here we go. Now what I'm going to do is let me explain a little before I actually run this application. I downloaded a sample Spring Boot project. Look what all it has imported for me. It has imported boot spring application, auto-configure.spring boot application. Now add Spring Boot application. This annotation was possible because it is already imported. We have this demo application now, and we need to get the context of Spring. I remember in our days, we used to write Spring Beans, and then we used to write the configuration for Spring Beans. Let's take an example. So how we did this, we created a bean class, which is shown here. Then we wrote this configuration. And when we wrote this configuration, observe that I wrote the country class, and let's talk more on this. If you see now, let's go back to the bean class. So the bean class, how does this differentiate from an ordinary Java program? A bean class takes a specific input and gives a specific output, right? So it has certain methods and it has certain attributes. The very important thing is that it has both setters and getters. So what is the input for this bean? I'm talking this from a component perspective. I'm not going to talk this as a Poja Java. I'm not going to call this as a class country and explain. I'm saying that this has two methods, get name and get population. And then it gives you a name of the country, and then gives you the population. It expects you to give an input. The input should be the name of the country. And then I don't know why, for now we'll talk about the population. So this bean is taking two things. One is it is taking your name and it is taking the population. So when you say get name, it returns your name, and it's get population, it will return your population. But important thing is that see the way, now this is still comfortable for me because it is still doing the same for me. What it is doing, it is allowing Spring Container to manage the life cycle. And let's take this. Observe this now. We have a bean ID, which is country. We have a class to which this country is pointing. Then we have a constructor-based arguments. So this is constructor-based injection, right? For index 0, it gives value as India, and for index 1, it is giving you a population. So to declare a bean, I need to do all this. This is the XML way of declaration. But still, the pain is reduced because this class will be managed by Spring, and by default, it's a single instance, singleton. And by default, this is lazy loading as per Spring framework. Let's come to Spring Boot now. In Spring Boot, when I declare a Pojo, let's declare a Pojo. What I do I specify the bean ID and all? I don't do that. Okay, so let's switch back. To a mini project now, where we will discuss how to declare a bean, how to declare entities, but we'll try to use Spring Boot. And let's see that how different is this one, where we are not doing the XML configuration. What all behind the scene it is doing for us. Okay, here we come. Now we're going to discuss a real world application, and we are going to have first the models. That means I'm going to imagine that I'm going to build a trade stock application, but I don't want to get you into code directly. Let's do some whiteboarding. Now, what happens in a stock trade? You have a stock, say XYZ. Assume that everybody knows about what a stock is. So it has a price. And where is this stock which is having a price? It is inside a market. So if I need to buy as a user, I need to have money. I need to pay the price for that. So at a top level, since object-oriented development helps us to pick a system very quickly because we see everything in terms of object. I do have a user object. I have a stock which is there in the market. So if I want to buy something, I need to do what is known as trading, right? So now we have two objects. One is a user object and a trade object. User can buy a stock from the market by trading. So let's see, we need to supposed to have two classes. One is a trade class and one is user class. Let's go first to user class to make things simple. Now, a user will have minimal things. He will have a name and he will have an ID. This is a bean. How do I say that this is a bean, and how do I tell Spring Boot that this is a component? One powerful notation at entity has solved all these problems. At entity tells you that this is not only a component, but this component can be persisted. See, most of my work is done here. No need for me to give an XML declaration. No need for me to tell that this is a bean. No need for me to tell that this is a component. No need to tell me for that I need to save this in a particular database. I gave this at entity. Another powerful notation I used is table, and I said this is my table. Done. Hold on. You're saying that it's done. Where is the database? Okay. To do that, it's very simple. You just go to application.properties file and say, this is my database. This is my database connection. This is my dialect. You create the statements. I am telling to Hibernate, you create the statements. You manage it. Show me the skills. Done. How much time would it take? Just 5 minutes to make me a user object. Now let's think in terms of relationship between user and trade. User can have many stocks through trade. That means if I have a trade, the trade will contain the details of the stock and the transaction, which is buy or sell. If it is bought by somebody, who's that? How do I recognize the user? Somebody has bought it. That means I do have a relationship between the user and the trade. And How is the relationship constructed? Observe this many to one. Just one annotation, many to one. Imagine if I was coding in Hibernate, what I would have done. I would have gone here. I have to do this mapping. Plus, I need to write this SQL. Plus, I need to do this Hibernate mapping. Correct? In the Hibernate mapping, I am saying the class employee. In our case, it is trade. The class trade needs to have a table trade. Then I will name my properties which are there. First name should be matched to column first name. Last name should match to column last name. Salary should be matched to last name salary. This goes on here. So if I need to have my object persisted, I need to do these all things. 1, 2, 3. What did I do here? I just wrote an entity and a table. Rest everything is taken care of. Now, relationship between user and the trade. That means the trade will have details of one user. That means a stock at a time belongs to only one user. That's why we have this relationship, which is many to one. That means a stock will have a user ID, only one user ID, unique user ID, so that you can associate the stock with the user. So far, so good. We declared a trade object, we declared a user object. Now the thing is that we need to persist them, which is over, but how do we, get the details of this persisted object? Springboard gives you another very simple solution. It simply says that try to use our repository methods. So what we did now here is we declared two interfaces. Interface trade repository, which extends JPA repository, and the class I give here is trade, and long user repository, which extends to JPA repository user integer. And what do I do here? I just implement them. I just implement those interfaces. So these are the interfaces of trade repository. When I do this extends JPA repository, I'm specifying that the business object is trade. When I use user repository, I say that JPA repository is user. So user repository is ready. The trade business objects are ready. Now, if I have to save this, let's go to now our controller. Okay, we are lost here. You took us suddenly to controller. What is this controller? In the REST world, we write an API. So where did I say that we were talking of APIs? We're talking of APIs here. We dismantle this vehicle to several parts. We dismantled a monolithic function into several microservices. And they will do what they want to do. Let's come back here. That is what I have done. We have dismantled this monolithic function into APIs. We have a get API. We have a post API, which does the changes, and we have delete APIs. This is our post API. Let's go in detail now. What would a post API do? It would simply take, when I hit /trade, it would take the JSON, whatever is there, which contains the details of user, what stock is interested to buy, and it will save this in the database. 2 lines, just 2 lines. See how powerful the annotations is. That means what I'm doing is I'm bringing up a URL, and the URL, if I have this trade, and then if I give the JSON containing all the details of user and stock, then I simply use trade repository.save to save the trade object. And after that, I also give a response. So let's bring it up now. Let's try bringing this up. Let us bring up the basic springboard. Yeah, I know you will have a doubt that why this person is showing what everybody is showing. He's just showing a Spring Boot web application coming up. Then he is going to talk the usual talk of going to /trade. Okay, hold on. I am going to talk the usual talk first, but I'm slowly going to connect the context of product evolution step by step. So started the application. It is available on port 8000. Okay. Now we need to check if it is up on 8000. Localhost 8000. Okay, we got white label error page, which is fine. Now that means our localhost 8000 is up. My next task is, how do I give this data? I use the data and trade data. Okay. Now I go here. And I need to search for a JSON. So is there something like URL trade which has come? I have given URL as trade. So it is telling request method get not supported. That means this trade is written only for post method, which is fine. It is written for post method, but I do have a get method also. What is my get method doing here? Let's try first with the get method. Get method is expecting me to give us traits. So I will give, I'll first try a stock. Say I'll say number of stocks is 45, and then I'll give a stock name. So local host colon 8,000, number of stocks is 45, and stock name is AAA. Let's see. Here you go. So I'm able to get a method hit as soon as I give traits, and that's what I've done here. That it is reflecting the stocks and the stock name. Now let's go here and let's get my JSON file. Where is my JSON file, which I was using? System audio. No. So I showed the get method. Now my next episode, I'm going to talk about the post method. And so far so good. What all we did, I'm going to just do a recapture. What we did is that we did discuss about our design freeze of how a product would look. We also discussed on how do we explore this product. We also saw springboard application. We discussed on the two business objects, trade.java and user.java. We also realized that our annotations are so helpful to bring things quickly. And we did comparison with the actual way of XML declaration, Hibernate mapping. We also know that Springboard has JPA repository methods, existing methods to save and to update. We also saw that it's so helpful in, connecting to Hibernate and, making the tables ready-made. So let's stop here. In the next episode, we're going to talk more on the post method. And after that, I'm slowly going to connect to product evolution.